watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Woo! Hey.
Boy, I tell you, we as boxing fans have really been getting spoiled in the last couple months, or I should definitely say within the last month. I mean, within the last couple of weeks, we've gotten Crawford versus Postal. We got Leo Santa Cruz versus Carl Frampton this weekend. The Friday before that, we got Adonis Stevenson versus Top Dog Thomas Williams going toe-to-toe until Adonis knocked Thomas Williams out. We had the return of Mikey Garcia. And this weekend, August 6th, we have the return of the best fighter in the world pound for pound, Andre Ward, fighting against Alexander Brand, a man who only has one loss on his record, and that's to the super middleweight champion of the world, Badu Jack. Assuming Andre Ward gets past Alexander Brand, which we all do, after that, he faces the crusher, Sergey Kovalev. The battle of supremacy. The winner of that fight becomes the undisputed pound for pound number one fighter in the world. But this is boxing and anything can happen, so once again, first, Andre Ward, he has to get past Alexander Brand. Brand is 25-1 with 19 knockouts. Once again, the only loss on his record is a split decision loss to Badu. I believe Jack. The biggest question going into this fight is, can Andre Ward top Sergey Kovalev's performance against Isaac Chilemba? And as you guys all know by now, Sergey Kovalev did not have his best performance against Chilemba. A lot of people believe that Isaac Chilemba, he exposed Sergey Kovalev. He was able to touch Kovalev with the jab whenever he wanted to, pretty much at will. He was catching Kovalev with lead right hands, telegraph left hooks. He was able to control, disrupt, and offset Sergey Kovalev's rhythm throughout the entire night, despite being knocked down a couple times by Kovalev. When Chilemba got back up, he was right back in the fight. It wasn't like a Crawford versus Postal situation where soon as Crawford hurt Postal, he took over the entire fight. Some fights are obviously different. You know, some fighters, they get knocked down, they fight even better. Other fighters, they get knocked down and they become a little bit more timid and gradually concede. This wasn't the case with Chilemba because, once again, like I said, Chilemba, he looked very impressive in this fight, even after getting knocked down by the very hard puncher, Sergey Kovalev. So I'm sure a lot of people probably said to themselves, I know I said it to myself, if Kovalev couldn't knock out Bernard Hopkins, he couldn't knock out Isaac Chilemba, even though Isaac Chilemba had never been knocked out before, neither has Andre Ward. So I believe it would be very difficult for Sergey Kovalev to pull that off if he couldn't knock out those guys, because Andre Ward is much better and much younger than Bernard Hopkins. But with that all being said, once again, I reiterate, Sergey Kovalev, he did not look that good against Chilemba. And it's interesting because a lot of people going into that fight, a lot of fans, they said, you know, this is a great tune-up fight for Sergey Kovalev to get used to Andre Ward's style. That was probably the best opponent that Kovalev could pick to prepare for someone like Andre Ward. But even with that being said, I think the Chilemba fight helped out Andre Ward more than it helped out Sergey Kovalev. because now Andre Ward has a perfect fight to study for their fight in November. Now, regardless what Andre Ward says, if he says he didn't watch the fight, etc., I don't believe that. And I certainly don't believe that he's not going to watch that Chilemba fight at all before they face off in November. That is a perfect fight for Andre Ward to study. I personally believe the first John Pascal fight is another good fight to study as well. I felt John Pascal, he did really well once he got on the inside. There were times where Pascal, he made Kovalev look very uncomfortable in that first fight. But getting back to Alexander Brand, he's a very aggressive fighter. The majority of Colombian fighters, they are aggressive. They swing for the fences, the majority of them. Majority of them have a lot of power. I believe Andre Ward, regardless if he admits it or not, I believe Andre Ward, he has a personal goal in this fight, and that's to knock out Alexander Brand. What Alexander Brand and Isaac Chilemba have in common is neither one of them have ever been knocked out before. So that would be pretty impressive if Andre Ward could knock this guy out. Andre Ward, he's already beat Sergey Kovalev's #1 contender, which was Sullivan Barrera. And I doubt that Alexander Brand, he has the intelligence and the defense of a Sullivan Barrera, who has an extensive Cuban pedigree, amateur pedigree. So that means that's more of a chance of Andre Ward putting a serious hurting on this boy and possibly getting a knockout. Fans can no longer use the excuse, those code words that they use, that Andre Ward is inactive, because now this is his second fight this year. He'll be fighting a third time in November against Sergey Kovalev, so he is definitely active. He's most likely going to shake off more of the ring rust, if there was some at all. And it's really interesting to see how he looks. When people talk about Andre Ward's ring rust and they say, I don't know, he needs more fights, he's been inactive for so long, etc. What people have to understand is Andre Ward is a very special type of talent. What that basically means is, even if he was a little rusty physically, Andre Ward's brain and his intelligence makes up for whatever physical rust he may have. So because of that, I don't see Andre Ward looking too rusty. I see him putting out a very impressive performance this Saturday. And if he doesn't knock this guy out, I definitely see him knocking him down maybe a couple of times. But it's a very good chance he can knock this guy out. A lot of boxers, they have so much respect for Andre Ward because, you know, when it comes to Andre Ward, deep down, we all know what time it is. We all know that Andre Ward is pound for pound the best fighter in the world in terms of being the most difficult fighter to beat. That's what makes him the best. Let me give you a perfect example. Let's just say hypothetically, if Gennady Golovkin had to move up when Andre Ward was still at 168, if Golovkin had to move up to 168 and fight Andre Ward, deep down in your heart, who would you favor to win that fight? You would favor Andre Ward to win that fight, right? But if Andre Ward did the same thing, which he's doing, which is move up to 175 and fight Sergey Kovalev, who would you favor to win that fight? The majority of you guys would favor Andre Ward to win that fight. We can even use Roman Gonzalez as an example. Let's say hypothetically, Guillermo Rigondeaux was only one division north of Roman Gonzalez. Who would you guys favor to win that fight if Roman Gonzalez had to move up one weight class to fight Rigo? We all know what time it is. The majority of us would pick Rigondeaux to win that fight. Only when it comes to Andre Ward do you pick to win a fight even at a disadvantage going up against not just the best fighter in the division, but pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world. That is the reason why Andre Ward is pound for pound the best today. And that is the reason why, regardless if you hate Andre Ward or you love Andre Ward, fans are going to tune in this Saturday and watch this man perform, because boxing fans are going to be curious to see what type of special effects Andre Ward pulls off this Saturday. So we'll see how it goes down. Once again, the fight is on HBO. Tune in and check it out. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Hi, my name is Janita and you're watching DONTAE'S Boxing Nation.